Welcome to MPA Feedback Stream 22. I am the guild leader. Today with us, we have Blayhub and Radium.
Hello.
This is the stream we do every Friday at this time. Well, every Friday at 8 p.m. UTC going forward. So the next week, the stream will be pushed back 1 hour later. So as soon as I was saying the time, I remembered that Blayhub told me that it's gonna work better for everyone. Hopefully, it works better for y'all. So starting next week, next Friday, feedback stream will be at 8 p.m. UTC, and the other events will probably follow suit. I think it's gonna work better for even the states over here, kids in school or people in school, members in school, and other things. So. I think 1 hour later is gonna be better. So it's 8 p.m. UTC. That's 3 p.m. Central. It's like 4 p.m. on the East Coast over here. So next Friday, we do this every Friday, 8 p.m. 8 p.m. UTC. So if you want to get your track on the stream, just look for the featured post in the music production Amino community on the Discord and the Amino. And there's a submission form. You can submit your track, leave a little comment, a note. And then tune in the following Friday to see if your track gets on stream. Again, we do in-depth feedback, help you get a new perspective on your music. All right, and this is brought to you by Blayhub, everyone. I want to remember this is Blayhub streams this, and he does a great job. So thanks, Blay.
Of course.
All right, and then in other news, tomorrow's the Spooky Collab stream. So tomorrow at 7 p.m. UTC. Tomorrow on YouTube and Discord. If you want to join and hang out in Discord, we're gonna listen to the submissions for the Spooky Collab. You still got 1 day if you want to do that. Again, the master pack is in the community. It's a featured post. It just says MPA Spooky Collab, says master pack. It's very top. You click the link, download the pack. Throw something together. It doesn't have to be, your best work. It's just a fun project. So just take the samples, throw something together, and submit it in the community. Use the hashtag Spooky Collab. We'll listen to those tomorrow on stream. Hi, Music Oasis, aka Granddad Got Mojo. So cool, and we'll get into some other news later. Let's go ahead and get into the feedback stream.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, how many submissions do we have?
Yeah, we got 5 submissions today.
Cool. Well,
So
I'm ready if
pretty
y'all
good.
are ready.
Yes, I'm ready.
Cool. So,
All right. Our first submission is going to be Eclipse by Riba. I believe that's a newcomer. I don't know. We'll see. Eclipse by Riba. Have fun. All right, that was Eclipse by Riba. All right, so what did you guys think?
I'll go first. This is the guild leader here. Uh, so this was real interesting. I love the ideas. Like I like your style a lot, or the style of this track, anyways. It's very epic, of course. It's a very epic track. The vocals, the choir chants, um, really add to that, and of course, just the composition. But for me, the problem was, other than, I mean, the mixing was kind of all over the place. Like everything didn't seem to like fit together. Kind of like things were in different rooms, almost, is a kind of way to think about it. Like or on weird, like if you were looking at a stage, some of the instruments like were like off the stage or in weird spots. They weren't, or it didn't feel natural, the mixed in it. But I mean, some of them sounds, you gotta understand, the sounds themselves are supposed to, what gives them that sound itself, they're supposed to be very loud if you're like really there. That's what makes them so like big stabs and big sessions. But then when you take that sample and turn it down quieter than an instrument that played acoustically is quiet, it just doesn't have a realistic mix. I mean, it's like certain things should naturally be louder than other things if you want it to sound more realistic. But I love the idea. Now I think it's a little too long. I mean, you know, if you're gonna cut it down and use it for different parts of like say a film or something, maybe it could be that long since it's all the different parts in one or something. But to me, it seems like I kept thinking it was over, and but then it go into something else. That's fine, but you need to lead the listener. You need to let the listener know there's something else coming up. It's not over yet. It's like those small little signs that lets people subconsciously know where they're at in the song, and it's like where it's you don't want to give everything away, but you actually have to give a lot of tales away in music. That's what makes a song exciting and anticipating. They anticipate those moments, and you give away little things, but you also tell that you have to lead the listener into like, okay, ultimately this is the breakdown. It's gonna probably go into a little build up, and then it's gonna have a climax, and then maybe we get used to hearing something. This was kind of like all over the place for me, not only the mix but actually the arrangement too. I love the idea. I agree with some of the judges here that the horns were a little just I mean, it wasn't the best sample to be played over and over and over again. Problem with a sample and a horn sample is when you play it over and over again, you start to hear the same little artifacts again and again and again, and again that takes away from it sounding like a real instrument, and it starts. I mean, it's obvious it's just a sample, and it's played again and again and again. So ways people fix that is like different start points of the sample. You can start the sample at different points, or use different samples, and do different things to modulate the sample a little, so it doesn't sound the same. But sample choice is probably the most important thing. But yeah, I mean, overall, I like the ideas. I'd like to hear more of your music and see kind of as you evolve and where your tracks go from here. Yeah. So, what did you think, Blake?
Right, yeah. So yeah. Yeah, I agree. You had some interesting ideas. I mean, I guess it sort of works with I guess the current theme of Halloween or something. I don't know. So yeah, some interesting ideas definitely in this. Though I wouldn't say it's something completely unheard of. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, there's a number of technical issues with this, but also with some decision making, some decisions, and of course the composition itself, which yeah, yeah, it's difficult to it's sometimes really difficult for me to give people tips about for their composition, because sometimes I feel like the sort of base knowledge or base work hasn't yet been established, and I'm not really sure what to tell you how to discover that, because for me it sort of happened naturally as I was growing up and developing. So to me, it's really difficult to tell people what to look for, what to look at. But definitely try to develop your hearing, your ears. Listen to listen to a lot of music. Try to analyze what's happening, and really try to figure out what sort of works, what sort of doesn't work, and try to develop a musicality that way, because really that's what it's down to in the end. So I'm not going to talk too much about the composition, because there's, I believe, there's a long ways to go. But I want to talk about the technical, a bit about the technical things, technical side of things. And I mean, you heard Gil talk about the brass sound sort of being discussed in the background. So I don't really know what you're using, if it's a sampled instrument, like a virtual instrument that uses samples, or if it's one of those one-shot beat-making things that you got out of a pack or something. I don't know what you're using. But either way, there's it's always it's difficult to tell people that anyone can make music nowadays. The issue is there's so many possibilities you have with free stuff or really cheap stuff, and it really hurts to tell people that some styles of music are more difficult to make with less resources, and things that try to imitate or get close to real instruments, or like orchestral instruments and stuff like that, they usually really do get a lot better the more you pay for them. And they can really drag you down and hold you back. So you can't do everything you'd want to do with these sort of plugins or sample packs and stuff like that. Obviously, because I mean, obviously, if there are limitations if you work with those, especially with those one-shot things where you really got no control over the sound at all. With plugins, you usually get things like being able to change the dynamics, because they have different layers of dynamics. They have round robin things, which is what Gilt was talking about with those. If you play the same sample over and over again, you get this shotgun effect, or you get a machine gun effect. I mean, not shotgun. Or you just hear the same artifact over and over again, the same exact resonances and sounds and stuff like that. So round robin mode in software instruments and virtual instruments, they take at random different snippets of the samples, so that doesn't happen. So there's certain layers to that which could improve that. But mainly the issue with why this is happening here really is the way you utilized it. Because if there's limitation within the software I use, I'm gonna have to find a way to work around that to make it sound good, or do something different entirely. It always depends. If I'm working on a piece that is supposed to be played by an actual orchestra or by actual musicians, then I don't really care about what it sounds like to me right now at that moment, because no one's gonna hear that. If I write something specifically to be listened to out of the software, then sometimes I'll make up my mind and change things if things don't really work with the software that I have available to me. It's a bit sad, but that's really what you've got to do if the intended purpose is for it to come straight out of the computer to the listeners. So there are some compromises you're going to have to make with that, which obviously it sucks. It's sad and annoying, but that's one of the limitations that comes with that, with producing music. So this isn't, composing and producing. So this is really the thing about producing music, which most people here probably know a thing or two about. those limitations. That being said, though, I think it would make sense for you to look for some more resources. There are a lot of free resources that you can get, or really cheap resources that you can get, that could already make things a bit easier for you, for yourself. I believe with Eclipse, probably you were aiming for a bigger sound, a larger orchestra, which didn't really. The brass sample was of a single instrument. I don't even really know what it was of, what instrument it was supposed to be. It sounded very strange. I believe it was probably a trombone, maybe a bass trombone. I don't know. Very strange, difficult to make out what it actually was. But it was a single instrument, so like a solo instrument. Didn't sound like a larger section of individual instruments, which is what I believe you were aiming for. So it sounded more like a single, like a big band sample kind of thing. I think you should maybe look into. I'm not a massive fan of their libraries. I wish they would be a bit more detailed about certain things, but I think what could be really helpful, a really helpful resource for you would be Spitfire, BBC, Orchestra. They have different tiers of this software. One is the full version, which is like close to $1,000. Then the mid tier is like, I don't know, like $400 or $500 something. But they have an entry point version, which is like $40, but you can get it for free if you fill out a survey and wait 2 weeks. So, go on their website, Spitfire, I don't know, just look for Spitfire. Not the airplane, look for Spitfire, and then if you don't find it, then maybe look for Spitfire samples or something, I don't know. But yeah, go on that side and look for BBC Orchestra or whatever. And there's going to be a tier list somewhere where you can go to the entry level version of that, and there should be like a small sort of hidden away link, or get it for free or something is what it says. And then you can fill out the survey and just wait 2 weeks and you'll get a download link for it. It's crappy, but it works. It's better than nothing, and it's better than what you had in this. So give that a try. Yeah, and maybe at one point you can upgrade to one of the bigger versions later on, if that's something you want to look into. I'm rambling for quite a bit now, but I'm gonna get to one other thing, which is just the mastering itself. There's I can tell you're really hitting on the loudness ceiling in your DAW, which really isn't good. I had to lower it quite a bit for the stream, so it's in tune with the other submissions, and of course, so it doesn't distort when streamed to YouTube. So what you should really look out for and pay attention to, or read about, is what a true peak is and why it matters, and the technical reasons for it and limitations for it. There are special peak meters for a true peak readout, and there are also special meters for a LUFS readout, which is a different measuring standard for measuring loudness. In this case, volume over time, so perceived loudness. These are really useful tools to have and to understand, because they really help you to get more control over what you're actually putting out. Because the difficulty with this is if you were to upload this to SoundCloud, or maybe not SoundCloud, but because they're a bit strange with that stuff. But if you upload it anywhere, if you release it properly or something, it's gonna get compressed further. So you're gonna lose control over it because it's technically too loud. You're too loud. The track is too loud. So really look out for that. And I just suggest, in general, try not to just aim for loudness over anything, because what's more important is dynamic range, is perceived volume, perceived loudness. I mean, Because if everything's just staying quiet at the same level, basically, then you're not going to have moments of quietness. You're not going to have moments of more excitement. You need those differences. You need that dynamic range, so you can. I mean, it's obvious, so you can have a perceived swelling of the loudness, which you won't have if it's already at the peak, at the ceiling. And also, I'd go easy on the compression. There was some compression in there. I don't know if that was something you did intentionally or if that was because you were actually, exceeding the levels inside your DAW. So definitely look out for that. So on a technical level, this needs a lot of work. On the sounds chosen, this needs a lot of work. And the composition, I'm not going to talk about too much because, like I said, that needs a lot of work too. I believe you're probably starting out, so obviously I'm gonna go a bit easy on that and not tell you to go away or something, So definitely take our feedback and keep working, keep improving, keep learning, and I suggest of course developing your hearing more, developing your ears, listening to music, analyzing music, and try to really understand the physics of sound. Basically, that's playing a huge role, but most importantly, develop musicality. That's the most important thing for you, and understanding for music, for harmony, that sort of stuff. I'm gonna say that today a couple of times, I'm pretty sure, but yes, I've been rambling for long enough. I think Radium had enough time to put down her notes, so I'm gonna give it over to Radium now, hopefully. Yes, I think so.
Yes. I'm keeping this short for this stream because I am busy and I am multitasking. First of all, hi. I don't think I've ever seen you in our community. Hi. Don't expect me to be a music expert or go off about mixing and sampling and stuff. First of all, Blay and Guild have done it for me, and second of all, I am not an expert. My specialty lays in business and talking too much. Your track. It's not awful. Like, natural self-deprecation to preserve self-esteem aside, it's not awful. I think you went for something that's common, something like fantasy epic. That's common, but that's still cool. Side note, the others mentioned it, but the brass that went off every second obnoxiously, they gotta go. They gotta leave because they're just not doing it as well as you think they are. Blair mentioned that it sounded like a certain sound, and the moment you make that connection, it does not go away. So yeah, that's it. Overall, if I could speak as a listener,
I believe we should clarify because radio means a bodily sound with the sound that we thought it sounded like. It doesn't sound like brass. It sounds like something. It doesn't matter. Okay, keep going, Radium.
I'm sitting trying to be polite and all nice. Okay. Yeah. If I could speak as a listener, and in the event where I randomly find your music, the first thing that will pop into my head if I discovered it is they're clearly a beginner. It's clearly part of their first tracks, or at least the first track they were comfortable with posting and uploading. That's the vibe that I get. And that's fine. I feel like there's no shame in showing your work, your creativity as it goes and as you work on it. I also think like more and more people nowadays will like seeing evolution, will like this feeling that we've been following someone since their beginning. So that's all fine, So I will really invite you to keep learning and keep trying new things and keep being creative, and don't be scared to put out what you have. Especially if you're in the position where you're doing the best you can with what you have and you can afford. Like, really don't be scared of uploading. Even if you don't like what you're making, even if you're not proud of it, still do it, because I think in the long run it's gonna help you build a form of self-confidence that a lot of people don't have, because we're so focused on comparing ourselves to people who have like a big machine backing them up, like thousands of dollars of equipment and experience, that we forget that we all have like a beginning. We all have the same starting point in quote unquote starting point. So yeah, don't be scared to put out the work that you have, even if you know instinctively it's not what you wanna make. It's still good and it's still worth putting out. Because trust me, going back to your work, it's humbling, and it helps you build confidence. That was Radium's word of advice.
For sure. Solid feedback. Very in depth stuff. And as always, thanks for submitting. Shall we move on to the next one, Blake?
Yes, let's move on. Our next track, our next submission is going to be Lost Her Mind by PyroAsura. Have fun! All right. That was Lost Her Mind by PyroAsura. All right. So, what did you guys think?
I really like this one too. This is I mean,
Oh, you're really
and maybe
quiet, Guild.
compared to my muted.
No, you're really
Okay.
quiet, Guild. Something, I don't know.
Oh, sorry. I'm not sure. I'll just lean closer to the mic. Yeah, I like this idea. I was just thinking about some of your other tracks I've heard of yours I've listened to recently. I really like your sound. I like how not all your tracks sound the same, especially this one. It's really Halloween themed. There's the going back to kind of like what kind of we were saying about even the previous track. The track we were listening to earlier, and just other things we've said in the past about sound selection and like sound choice and sound design and really just having sounds that are a little bit more pleasing to listen to could take your composition. It can really polish off the track. I know it's not all about the sounds. It's really about a lot of the other things like the composition and just all the thing and the arrangement, the melody, the notes and all that stuff, and just the idea overall. But there's also a lot to be said about just holding yourself back with weaker sounds or just sounds that these are really fun sounds and they're neat and I like it just thing, but I don't know. It just seems a little. Some of the sounds seem a little like preset, or I don't know if preset's the right word, but a little just a little thin or a little like old keyboards or something kind of sounds. But other than that, even if that's what you were going for, there's nothing really wrong with that other than that's what stands out to me when I listen to it. And it's probably the reason why I wouldn't like necessarily listen to it again and again, because there's no like real complex sound design going on here or no real advanced like melody or anything. Although that being said, if this is just a fun Halloween like theme, little spooky track, I could easily see this. I could easily see this being used in many of just like a just the background of any kind of Halloween video or the intro to a Halloween segment on something, or just a neat little game or something like where I don't know. Hope to say something useful here. Other than I definitely would. It's not always about even changing the sounds out, but kind of how you use the sounds. Now, I don't mean adding lots of effects or anything, but I mean like like if you're like the humanizing of the sound, and then again maybe a little chorus effect or something like that here or there, but not. It doesn't have to be all the time. It could be on a certain note. You kind of phase it out a little, and that just adds a little bit more ear candy and a little bit more to listen to. My main thing is with like I always refer to like micro transitions. Like it's not the big transitions. Of course, you're gonna transition from the bridge to the chorus or to the verse and to the. You're gonna those bigger transitions, and we're used to those. You usually do a fill, and some people do a little riser, or a sweep sound, or you do some kind of transition effect. I always focus more down. I do that, but I also go in and think about every little transition from bar 1 to bar 2, from, just, like, every note going into the next note, and you can really start to think about how the tail end of your effects and the tail end of your notes kinda play into the next note, and, when you get, uh, humanizing it at that level, you could take a simple sound and make it a lot more enjoyable to listen to. But anyways, I'm just gonna leave it at that and pass it over to Blake.
All right. Yeah. I think I think you had some interesting ideas in this, definitely. I liked how you used the chorus, the choir section. I like that a lot. And I like that one really low pitched bell sound thing. I thought that sounded awesome. I think it's interesting what Gil said about the sound design being simplistic. To me, that really isn't an issue usually, or the issue with most things, because not everything should be so flashy. I think, like even in electronic music, I don't think. But the issue for me is that then if you want to keep things super simple, of course, in terms of the sound or instrumentation, then of course you gotta have a strong composition itself. And I think I was missing a bit here, or mainly I couldn't really make out what I would call a composition. So to me, this sounded more like you set up a couple of loops and sounds and something like a launch pad. Like a launch pad performance, if you know what I mean. So more the sort of like a DJ track thing that would be good to put in between other tracks and stuff, or blend with. It will probably work super good at like a party, like a club or something, But I don't know what the intention for this is or was. The note you left us didn't provide any more insight into that, because it just said Happy Halloween, so Happy Halloween to you too, PyroAsura. No, but yeah, no, it's yeah, definitely. I mean, the last time you were on stream, I think you had really interesting ideas too, and I think I can hear that here too. There's some things I like about this, about the sort of effect they have. It's some interesting things, in my opinion. But as a whole, I think it's lacking in a couple of these aspects that I've mentioned in terms of composition, and something like Guild mentioned in terms of sound design. I think there's a bit of improvement left too. But I wouldn't go all out on that. Because I think I like that you keep that you kept this more minimalistic. I like that actually. There's one thing that really bothered me though, and that I would like really reconsider having in the track, and that is the sample of that of the laughing. I really, that's really pushing it to me. That's really pushing it. I feel it's super cliche. It's super, I don't know. It's the sort of thing, the sort of obvious sound thing that's just super, it can be super annoying, but it's less annoying to me. It's more, it feels how am I gonna put it? It's like I'd say the only word that comes to mind is it makes me feel embarrassed. Maybe that's strange, but I don't know. It's the sort of thing. It's like, I don't know. You go like Oh, I can hear some noise there, Radium. I don't know what that is.
I don't think she knows she's unmuted.
Yeah, Radium, you're unmuted. You're unmuted. I don't know if you know.
Oh shit.
That's
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I'm embarrassed in the sense that it's the sort of it's this is a really shitty example, but I can't think of anything else now. But in laugh tracks in sitcoms and stuff like that. Oh, I hate those. I hate those so much. It's not even about the laughing. It's the same with movies that have this oversaturation of strange sound effects, like just stuff like that. It's just like you see it, you hear it, and it's like it's embarrassing. I'd describe this feeling I get as embarrassing. If it wasn't there, I wouldn't feel embarrassed. It's like I'm embarrassed for the creator in a way. Don't take this the wrong way, PyroAsura. I don't mean you should feel embarrassed. It's just I feel weird listening to it with that laughing sound thing. I don't like it. That's I should have just said that from the beginning. I don't like it. It's a long way to say that, I guess. It's you could have it in at the beginning or something, but not so often if you really like it. But yeah, I'd oh, you're actually on in the chat. That's nice. Actually on stream. PyroAsura just mentioned on stream that they know the laugh is cringeworthy, so no offense taken. That's really good. Thank you very much. I would have felt very embarrassed, even more so embarrassed, if you would have taken offense to that. But then, and maybe it's something you could change if you want to change it. You don't have to. It's your track, obviously. But I thought I should mention it because, I really don't like it. All right. Radium, I don't know. Are you ready to give your feedback? I was rambling for quite a bit again, so I think, looks like it. All right, Radium.
Hello. Oh yeah, my feedback is gonna be very, very short. Okay, like for a song that's supposed to give you a vibe about Halloween, I did not feel it as much as maybe I should have. I think, what serves as a creepy song, especially for Halloween, I think it's a very, very wide subject. Like anything, you can make something Halloween vibey any way you wanted to make it. But for this song, I didn't really feel it. Like, I think I felt it because there were so many elements that were like the cliche Halloween song, the laughter, the bell, something that reminds of a cemetery. Like, yeah, because of those elements, you can say it's Halloween, but everything else wasn't as Halloween as it could have been. Again, that's me. Someone else might disagree. So, that's just me for that.
I agree. If I may chime in, I agree because I didn't even consider it a Halloween song, but now that you say it, it makes so much sense because they left us the Happy Halloween. Oh, yeah, it really doesn't feel like a Halloween thing to me either. So you're not alone.
I got the sense of a Halloween song, but
quiet again, Gil. You're quiet again.
No, I mean, I guess it's hit and miss because I thought it was Halloween. That's why I was saying I thought of a Halloween thing, but I can see where y'all are both coming from. All in all, it was I kind of want to go back to what I was saying too. I actually did like a lot of the sounds too. So I mean, it's not all the sounds were even needy. I mean, some of the sound design here was very unique, and it gave the whole track its vibe. It was really a neat track. I just again, I always when I try to think of something to say, or if I can't think of something to say, the best thing for me to do is just like, okay, well, if this was my track and it was like laid in front of me right now, what would be the first thing I'd run to go do? And usually I can think of something always. And there's, so I mean, but I definitely get the Halloween vibe from this, but I not just like crazy scary movie Halloween vibe. I was getting more like friendly, happy kids Halloween vibe, but I don't know.
So embarrassing Halloween. No, so just kidding.
No.
Okay.
I like
yes,
it. I really
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Just wanted to confirm, whatever. Yes, Radio.
Well,
sorry.
Yeah, I have an example of it's something that's subjective. I didn't really feel it. Well, I didn't feel it at all.
Yeah.
Blake felt it. So that's subjective. Speaking of sounds, I disagree on the choice of sounds. I felt they were out of place, but with themselves, if it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like some of the sounds didn't match or mix well. So as I was listening, I was like, this doesn't make sense. For example, the constant little arpeggio melody in the background, that's really earworm. Like it feels still stuck in my head in a way, but like that mixed with this weird sound that I described as faded and far away at the same time, I didn't like it at all. Yeah, some sounds they just weren't working for me. So I think that also contributed to me not feeling it Halloween, because I feel like everything. If you make a song that's meant to be Halloween, However, the way you make it has to be consistent with itself. And that track didn't, with the sounds and everything, it didn't feel very consistent. I don't have my glasses. I'm looking for my notes. Yeah. The background. Something that bothered me a lot with the song was
Professor
a
Radium.
yeah. Something that bothered me was a lack of something in the background. The background felt very empty. Whenever the chorus thing wasn't there or loud, or it was just the annoying little arpeggio thing that's still stuck in my head playing, the background was empty. I feel like there could have been the opportunity to add something, uh, another melody in their element, just to really. I think when it comes to songs with themes, the vibe is important, or whatever genre you make it, the vibe is important. And I feel like you could have added something, an atmospheric sound, just to drive the vibe of it's Halloween. However, whether it's meant to be something for kids or classic horror movie, just a soundtrack, something was lacking. Plus that and the, I don't know, the repetitiveness of the song was also something that didn't really help with the Halloween vibe. Like, it needed new elements, especially since there were so many like elements of the thing and stuff and the bell. It needed more things to really drive it home that it's Halloween. So that like it doesn't mean it's a bad track, you know? I think it's just me, the way I see it and the way I feel it, it was lacking.
Right.
Okay, I'm done.
Right. All right.
Cool.
So,
Great feedback.
should we move on
Let's go ahead.
to our next submission then?
I love the weird shuffling you guys have every time I finish talking. Very, very funny.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm for whatever reason falling asleep over here.
Oh,
Not
okay.
because y'all are talking. No, it's totally me. just
Guild
being
thinks your songs are boring.
No.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm tired. I didn't get very little sleep. But I'm not gonna let that stop me from saying, shall we move on to the next track?
Yes,
I'll
let's move
finish
on.
out the stream for sure.
Yes.
Before I fall asleep.
Let's speed through this. Okay, our next track is going to be oh no, it's French. Our next track is going to be, and Radium, don't kill me.
My knife is ready. Say it.
The next track is going to be, the next submission is going to be Terre du Milieu by Sound for. Do you want me to send it to you right now?
Yeah, send the title to me.
Yes, okay, we're going to do this properly.
I feel like Blaze is gonna get stabbed.
Terre du Milieu.
I wasn't too far off.
Middle Earth. In English, it'd be Middle Earth.
Right. I wasn't too far off then. I was.
No,
I was too far off.
Similar, but
Anyway.
what does it mean in English?
What do you say, Gil?
What does it mean in English?
Like in French, it's Terre du Milieu, but in English, it's Middle Earth.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So, what Radium said by Sound Forecast. Have fun. All right. That was
Terre du Milieu.
by Sound Forecast. Thank you, Radium. What did you guys think? Gil, you're muted.
Sorry. I mean, I like the idea of this. I think, you know, I think I don't know, the best way to it's the simplest way to say it is I think some of the notes could have been in like different places. It's the simplest way to say it without getting musical technical. I think it's a great idea, but like anything, when you find like if you're trying to write music, I mean, music's made up of essentially 7 notes of a scale and or something around that or whatever, and then triads that are really common and everything. And it's really easy to make something really simple, but then you hit the one wrong note, and yeah, it still works because it's in the scale, but it's just kind of like, yeah. And it's really what takes a great song to just another song on piano, and then sometimes even worse, just something that's kind of like, it just sounds like someone just hitting. Not, I want to say random notes for this song, but at some point, like if it was me playing and trying to make up the melody, I would have played different notes is the best way I could say that. But I like the idea. Overall, I like the vibe of it. The sounds, I like the sounds you were using. Again, things could be more complex. I don't always mean complex as in like layers and effects. I mean sometimes more complex as in more realistic or more advanced or more professional, I guess is kind of what I'm getting at. I don't always just want to say, it needs to be more professional, but to me, a lot of what I do when it comes to working on music and my own music and talking about other people's music is really quote unquote the professionalism of the track. And I don't think people even use the word professionalism in music. They use more like commercialism or commercial of the track or standards, what you would hear streaming a song off of Spotify that was on the top of the charts or whatever. I used to say, pull a CD off the shelf, but people don't buy CDs anymore. But pull a CD off. You go to the store, you buy a CD that's super popular, you put it in there as a standard of what you're used to hearing and it's basically the gatekeepers said, yes, this track is good enough to pass the gate, and record labels are usually those gatekeepers or whatever it is. But times have changed. But what I'm trying to say is there's always, yes, unless it's just a really amazing track and I'm just like praising it. To me, what it is you can push it. I think you can always push it to the level of being a little bit more. I'm gonna use again like modern mix, like a more commercial, without sounding like mainstream necessarily. But I'm just saying like again, it come down to the sound of a choice. If you use a preset like default piano that comes with your DAW, or you went out and invested in or found a really great like open source or free version of a piano, or invested in one or something, and you found a really nice instrument or made it really unique sample yourself, but can change everything. That's what makes a song like, okay, this is something that puts you in the big leagues. This is something that sounds really nice. This is really professional, or something about this just has quality, that just has weight to it, versus something that's just like, okay, here's a good idea, here's something that someone's getting into the studio, they're figuring something out, they did a track, it's good enough, and they released it. So again, those are just the standards when I'm trying to give feedback here. Like, okay, I assume most of us in this community, me included, I mean, are not, regardless of how good we are, how long we've been producing. I've been producing for a long time, but I am in no way successful at my music to the point of like getting picked up and everyone saying this guy's music is so good, you got to hear it, and becoming famous and lucrative business off my music or anything. Because even I go into the studio and it's just having fun, and I'm learning studio. And I say that because I know my music is not the best, but what holds me back, or what I go into the studio and sit down and try to do and focus on, is just that. It's like, okay, I'm not going to sit here and say, okay, my song's good enough, why isn't people picking it up? I'm not going to just sit here. I don't lie to myself. I go in and I have a great time doing this. I go in and say, okay, what can I do like, what is it that bugs me about my track, and why, I mean, is my track like the way it sounds? And I that's exactly what I focus on. I don't go in and just make a new track. I don't go in and go, oh, another 808 bass, another this, another that. I don't go in and like, oh, I'm seeing make another track. I go in deliberately to the studio every day and focus on exactly what I think is holding me back in my music. And so that being said, it's more of a broad feedback and general feedback for everybody. I would honestly just say that when you're working on a track, and again, a few notes could have been in a different place, or someone says, oh, it's a cool idea, but it was like your composition's a little off, you need to work on that. Chances are a lot of people are going to think the same thing when they hear your track. So I would say for you more in sound forecast, I don't know if you can or not, but I would say anyone out there that doesn't know how to learn how to play an instrument, learning how to do a DAW is, to me, I would never actually, I don't understand how anyone really does it other than just copying videos and stuff. But if you're not an actual musician and you don't know how to actually play an instrument and understand kind of like your ear understands like notes and like what notes go good together, like even a piano or a guitar or whatever, you're really holding yourself back. Because when you're just going blindly and you're just moving notes around, you really are just trying to move notes until something sounds good enough to you, and you're really holding yourself back, versus actually playing an instrument and like developing what many people consider like the soul of music, like soulful licks and groove and harmony and melody, and you'll start to know which notes I'm talking about that should have been in a different place and stuff. It's just, I don't know, maybe you won't. But I don't know. Again, today's my feedback is kind of whatever. I am tired today, so sorry anyone it's not getting the best feedback from me and they're getting more metaphors or whatever. Sorry. I'm passing it over to Blake.
All right. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think. I think you had some, interesting ideas. Definitely. I think. I think you could go back to the feedback I left for Riba's submission, because it's essentially going to be pretty much the same. I think you need to work a lot on your musicality, on your composition and all that. And of course, the sounds. I could hear you had a couple of sampled things in there, some supposedly attempts at real sounding instruments, stuff like that. So basically, yeah, it's the same deal. Work around your limitations. Seek out other resources and things to work with, but most importantly, work on your composition, because I think I think that's really unfortunate. With this one, to me, I felt that you were completely aimless, completely directionless. You didn't really know what you were doing, where you were going with things, with melodies, with harmony. And it was super repetitive too. So I think there's just at least with this, I could make out more. I could make out more direction, more ideas. The other what was I gonna say? I could make out some type of direction you were aiming for, but on the other hand, then I could also make out that you were sort of aimless, wandering around and didn't really know where to go, what to do. So I think you are trying to tell a story. The title would suggest so. But and also the way you sort of tried to compose the piece track. I don't know. But I think ultimately it sort of fell apart when it came to like really finding a direction and really telling the story. So I think it's really important for you to focus a lot on the storytelling part. Because in case you haven't heard me saying this yet, but I'm saying it on literally every stream ever, and to anyone I've ever met, musicians and composers were storytellers. composers more so than normal musicians, who usually they can play pieces and stuff like that, but composers and producers and whatever, we all tell stories with our music. Music is a storytelling medium, mainly used for emotion, of course, but you can tell quite complex stories, scenes, ideas with music. So that's the main thing. It's really good at music. Is telling stories, is conveying emotion, stuff like that. So you really got to work with that, and you really got to figure out what story you're trying to tell. If you probably know this, I'd assume from the way you title your tracks. We've heard some things by you before, and the way you go at the composition part. I think you probably know this, but it needs more work. You need more practice. You need more experience. Because this really isn't something that, just happens one day. You just need to keep at it and keep working with intention. And I think that's probably the most important part is make intentional, conscious decisions about your music writing, about your melodies, about your harmony. In terms of technical things or like general ideas, I'd repeat things much less, if at all. I think there's a lot of repeating parts in this that I just too repetitive. Your harmony doesn't really make sense, where it's moving, where it's going, and I'd suggest that instead of something I tell to a lot of people too, instead of thinking of harmony as these blocks of vertical patterns and harmony things, think for each individual note within a chord, think it as an individual melody line. So instead of plopping down chords, you're writing individual melodies that then make up the chord, which makes for much more interesting harmonic progressions and stuff like that, and gives you the opportunity to orchestrate things differently and really put sense into how the harmony is developing, where the chords are moving, where the melodies are moving. But this is really advanced stuff, I'd say. I think you're still also very much at your beginning stages. So really just keep at it, keep improving, keep working. Also, you should also develop your hearing, your ear more, develop your ear, develop your musicality, listen to a lot of music, analyze it, try to figure out how it works, develop musicality. That's the most important part, thing you could do. And don't be discouraged by, a couple of setbacks and stuff. Always keep improving, always keep at it. Yeah, I'm going to keep this one short because I feel like I've said everything I should say about this to Riba. To you, the same suggestion in terms of software. So you can just go back to the beginning. If you're watching the playback, I don't know if you're on the live stream, but if you're watching the playback, there will be timestamps. So just go to Eclipse by Riba, listen to the feedback there. There's a suggestion by me about software that you could get for free. So maybe that could be of help to you. But really the most important part, the most important thing really isn't the resources and the tech and the gear you have, but it's yourself. It's your ideas. It's your storytelling. It's your emotions. It's your musicality. That's all that matters. Tech stuff comes after that. So develop that first. All right. I don't know if Radium's ready. That was a bit shorter than before.
Okay, I'll keep my thing very, very, very short.
All right.
I think the biggest vibe I got from this disappointment, in the sense that, I don't know for other people, but I like reading a title and seeing where or how the title fits with the song. In that case, it didn't. You say Middle Earth, I think fantasy, I think Lord of the Rings, and I didn't get that vibe from your song. And if I could add on that, I don't know if it's a song you consider finished. I don't know if it's a demo or just trying things out, but it feels very uncompleted. Like it needs more element. If you think it's over, it's over, but I don't know. From what I could hear, it needed a lot of more work and elements to really drive home whatever the title implied, if I could say it. That's my main feedback to me as like a listener.
All right. Yeah.
That's it.
I definitely I agree with what you said. But yeah, I think it's really important that musicality, the composition should always come before the technical stuff. That of course needs a lot of improvement too. All right. Shall we move on then? You guys, Gil, you're still muted again. I don't know if you're saying anything, but I think it's
Yeah, I think we should move on then.
right.
I think that was
Yes.
solid feedback again from Radio Up and Play Up. And yeah, so again, I want to apologize to anyone that's for getting short feedback from me today. And I know Radio Up says she's multitasking. And so Play Hub, and we're always thankful for his in-depth feedback. And but as always, I'll be more alert next week. I promise. So yeah, let's move on before I fall asleep.
Yes. All right. Our next submission, our next track is going to be Something Sweet Before ... by Fox of Spooks, also known as Fox of Galaxy. All right.
Halloween, the October name.
What?
Halloween. I think maybe that's his Halloween name, his October name.
Yeah, it's probably is. Okay, Something Sweet Before ... by Fox of Spooks. Fox of Spooks. Have fun.
Howdy. I'm the Fox of Galaxy. Just here to tell you that all of my older music was made on a phone. I'm still surprised that I got any good feedback. I never knew that a phone would be decent at making dubstep. So, thanks for the previous feedback. Now that I have gotten a computer, I think my production will improve by a long shot. So once again, thanks for the previous feedback, and this is Fox signing out. Bye-bye.
All right, that was Something Sweet Before ... by Fox of Spooks, also known as Fox of Galaxy, or Fog, or whatever he decides to name himself. Anyway, yeah. So, what did you guys think? I mean, this wasn't really a submission to be. Let's be honest. This wasn't really a submission. It was. We heard this. It was like an excerpt of the track he submitted. The last stream he was on. So it was just that repeating. There wasn't really anything else happening. It was just the bell thing, It's not a glockenspiel. It's no real instrument. It's a synth, but it's a synthesized thing, whatever. So I think really this isn't really a submission. I don't know if what kind of feedback we can give. I don't know if you guys want to say something, but I would say something to his message at the end. But I don't know what you guys want to say.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm gonna say something, of course, because
Right, yeah.
It's like, why not? I'm here. We're on live, and whatever. I think it was cool. I love your little theme song melody. When I hear it, I picture you on the scene. Fox's Galaxy is here. your little theme song. I love how you have fun with your music and you have fun with your song because, again, you're much like me. This is all for fun, and there are no rules in music. There's suggestions, there's feedback, and there's a lot of opinions on what we would have done different. But at some point, it's like you can do whatever you want with your DAW, and you can release whatever you want on the SoundCloud at this point, as long as you're not stealing it from someone else. It's and if you're having a good time, you're having a good time. Now, as far as if you want serious feedback from this, I'd say, finish the song. It just sounded like a little blip, and if you've used that same melody in other songs, give it a little bit of a different twist to it, to where, it's the same melody, but maybe in this one you have a different sound playing the bass, or maybe a different bass line, or a different drum beat. It could be the most, obvious thing to change. But if you're just going to say, "Oh, happy Halloween," and just dropping us another link, I really do enjoy it. I think it's cool, and I enjoy our return members. I think you're pretty much one of our regulars that comes through our feedback stream pretty much every time. So happy Halloween to you, and enjoy your track, and I'll just pass it over to the other judges.
Yeah. I just, like I said, I don't feel like giving feedback on this track because it's an excerpt of something else we heard before, which isn't the first time it's happening. So I wanna say something to the message though that you left us, that Fog left us. So basically, I wanna mention one specific thing at the end, which I feel is really important, because the feedback, I believe the feedback that I specifically gave to Fog was always focusing on composition and on ideas themselves, and less so on the technical execution. Of course, I did mention some technical things every now and then, but I was always talking about composition, or I was always talking about ideas and taking ideas further. So Fog mentioned that they made the previous music that we've talked about on stream on a phone, and that now they have a computer, and they believe that this will improve their productions. Here's the thing. It probably won't. You need to put in all the effort of everything we've talked about before. So you being on a different platform doesn't change a thing about your music. It doesn't change a thing. And if anything, I can get behind it probably affecting your quality, the objective quality, if they're, as far as objective qualities in music go. But the objective technical quality, the quality of the technical execution will probably improve. But one thing that won't improve just by being on a computer is that which I've always criticized, which is ideas, which is composition. That is the thing that you could have worked on all this time, because it doesn't matter where or what you use to write down your ideas, So really, it's not going to help you at all with that. And the most important thing, and that's what I'm fearing right now, is that with this upgrade, this technical upgrade you're giving yourself, this will improve one aspect, maybe. If you put in the work, it'll improve that one aspect, which is the technical execution of things. But what does the technical execution matter if the foundation is broken? That's what I keep telling people. I don't give a shit about how it sounds if the composition is great. I do give a little bit of a shit, but the fundamentals are so important because they are what everything else builds on. Everything else builds on top of. So really, the really super top-notch, most important thing, and I've said it probably 3 times again in this very stream, is your ideas, the composition, the storytelling, those ideas. This is what everything else builds on top of. If that is wrong, everything else will fall flat too. So you need to work on that. I don't care what you use to make music. I don't care one bit. I don't care if it sounds like shit. I don't care if the execution is terrible. I don't care if it's just a couple of sine waves plopped together. If there is a composition underneath that is really good, then I won't care. I mean, I will care a little bit, of course, because I do care about what it sounds like. I want to listen to music. I want to appreciate music by listening to it. Not just the composition idea alone. But that is the foundation for everything. So it really doesn't matter if you get a tech upgrade. It really doesn't matter. I mean, I think it's great. Don't get me wrong. I think it's great that you're getting a tech upgrade, that you have more possibilities, more resources to work with. That's great. But don't forget the fundamentals. Don't forget the core of everything. And that is composition. That is your ideas. It is not the computer that you sit in front of, but it is you controlling that which you are sitting in front of. That is all that matters. That's what my feedback is usually about. So yeah, this isn't me getting mad at you. This is me begging of you to please don't lose sight of that. Look at what I've been telling everyone, every single person on these streams for 22 episodes. Technically, it's 21 episodes because I was sick at one. So 21 episodes. What I've been telling people for 21 episodes. Composition is the most important thing in music. Your ideas, the story you're telling, this is the number one priority you should all have. This is the number one thing you need to understand. This is the most important thing. So, yes, that is my feedback. It's not feedback. This is my very important announcement and message to everyone who's listening and watching the stream. So, yes. I don't know if Radium has to say anything.
Radium says you're welcome.
Right. Okay. And with that,
Like, okay, you're welcome.
Sorry, what? I sorry didn't catch that.
The text to speech message said thank you, so I said you're welcome.
Oh, right, I see.
Yes. I thought I was smart. Your reaction.
All
but
right.
Yeah, Blay spoke nothing but the truth. Listen to Blay, and you're welcome.
Yes. All right. Yes, you're welcome, Fox of Galaxy. And yes. All right. So I think we should move on. Gil's gonna AFK for the second. So I don't know if I don't think he's gonna miss this one though. I think we should move on to our last submission, our last track of today now. Gil's gonna be back shortly. He's gonna be able to listen to it probably. So our final submission, our final track for today is going to be Tempo by Kitsune Power. Have fun.
One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Tempo. Tempo. Tempo, 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 tempo. 1, 2, 3, tempo. Tempo. 1, 2, 3, tempo. Tempo. 1, 2, 3, tempo, tempo, tempo. tempo, 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 tempo. 1, 2, 3, tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, tempo, 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 tempo.
All right. That was Tempo by Kitsune Power. All right. So, what do you guys think?
This is a pretty strong track. I don't agree with all the vocal, like where they're at and like the way they're mixed. I think they're just really simple. Although it reminds me of an exact track that I did, which I took. I think it was the same thing. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, but I like muted a couple of the words sometime, and I was trying to get clever with it. But at the end, I just scrapped the whole track because I wasn't a big fan of like just the counting. But it can work if you just throw it in like one time, you put some effects on it or something. But overall, minus the little counting samples, this was a really cool track. I really liked this. The mix was strong. I loved how you switched it up at the end with that little like psytrance bass line. I really again, after I listened to all your tracks and I know the level that you're at in your level, and I pay attention. I definitely try to pay attention to if anyone mentions how their age or how long they've been producing and what thing. And I try to do my feedback accordingly. Because, yeah, I can give, if I was going to give feedback to someone that's been producing for over 10, 15, 20 years, my feedbacks for them is going to be way different than someone's just like, hey, check out my, I've been producing for a couple years, or I've been producing for a year. Check out my new track. Yeah, my feedback's gonna say, okay, it's really cool. It's a really good track. I'm gonna say stuff like that, and I'm gonna say, this is what I would do. I would fix this. I would mix it a little better, make it a little brighter. But if it was someone that's been producing for years and years, I'm gonna say, yo, did you know you messed up on this part right here? You need to go fix that, And they'd be like, okay, I gotta go fix it. So it's two different ways. I know you haven't been producing for forever, and I think for the amount of time you've been producing, you're really good. I see you just getting better and better. I still encourage you to find your own style, something that's really hasn't been heard before. Everyone is trying to do that in the 2020. Believe it or not, it's just the overall it's just the zeitgeist of music. You think of music in decades. You don't think of music in necessarily like looking back in history. You go, there's 80s music, there's 90s music, there's the aughts, there's 50s, 60s, 70s. That's the way music thinks. So we're in 2020 now. We're going to 20 million. Everything we make now and going forward, at some point, people are gonna look back. Oh, that's the music from the 20s. So I would encourage everyone to find their 2020 sound and stop trying to sound like everything that's already been out for the past 10 years and festival stuff or whatever, and all the same old sounds that really I'm always reminded of the death of disco. If anyone wants to watch a good documentary, watch how disco actually faded out, because one day there was just a riot and rebellion against disco. They were like, we've had enough. We're going back to rock and roll. And that really has really happened. And I feel that's going to happen to festival dance music. It's not going to happen to electronic, but it's going to happen to festival electronic. And the same stuff that it's trapped in its time, it's trapped in its decade, and at some point you can't escape that when you're making that kind of music. So I'd encourage to try to find something, bring something back, reach back into history and bring something back, or make it new again, or whatever it might be. Guitars are coming back for sure. But other than that, I really enjoyed this one, especially compared to the last few submissions we've heard from you. I think yeah, you're definitely an artist. I can tell it's just going to keep getting better. And when you've been producing, 10, 15, 20 years, who knows what it's just going to be. It's all about experience. Practice definitely makes perfect in all skills and stuff like that. So keep at it, KP. Thanks for submitting. I'm going to pass it over to Blay.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with what Gil said. Definitely, we should definitely keep on at it, keep on trying and stuff like that. Um, I think, um, yeah. So, yeah, there's a couple of things I think I want to mention probably about this. I think one thing definitely that kind of threw me off was the counting. Um, I think it's one of those things that I really don't get at all in music, in anything. I don't get counting. It's giving no context. I can see how it makes sense maybe in some cases, but I mean the title is tempo, and there's like a vocal thing that goes tempo every now and then. But what's it to do with, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I don't get it. Like that's not like four what? 4 kilometers an hour? That's not fast. That's no tempo. What are you talking about? So it's supposed to be like a race, but they don't count to 4. They count from something to. All right, wait, do they? Don't they have a countdown? I don't know. I don't think they. Oh wait, I think they are counting, but that's different. So it's not
Yes,
about what?
yes, races do have a countdown.
Countdown. See. So that makes no sense either. Um. Okay. Okay. Good. Katsuna's here. I just said it's 4 time, guys. Come on now. Yeah, it makes no sense. Why is it? Why is it in the track? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Yeah, it makes no sense to me. It's just doesn't make any sense to me. It's like with PyroAsura's laughing. I think the counting is embarrassing. It makes no sense. Yeah. So it's just counting the time signature. Yeah, that makes no sense. It's ridiculous. What do you go like in a concert, like in a I don't know, like a Stravinsky concert, and you have someone on stage yell out the time signature? What? It makes no sense. It's stupid. I'm sorry, Kitsune. Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean it like that. Just such a strange decision. I don't get it. It makes no sense in music. I thought it had something to do with the music itself, with the title, maybe with the story you're trying to tell. Makes no sense to me. So when I hear vocals in music, I usually expect them to be what the track is about, you know? So when I see the track being called tempo, oh, tempo in music, but tempo has nothing to do with the time signature. So it still makes no sense, even if you were talking about tempo in terms of music. Still doesn't make any sense. You see the problem? Makes no sense. Anyway, if you call it a time signature, okay, maybe now we're talking. But then I'd want some time signature changes. Something that does something with it, something that happens. Nothing happens. I don't get it. Nothing happens. Anyway, yeah, your technical execution is there. But I think what I said for Fogs of Galaxy in the previous thing, I think it applies to you too. You really got to pay attention to your ideas, to your composition ideas, to your musicality. I think that's really important. I think the technical stuff, I think it's there. I think sort of what you're doing with sound design stuff and whatnot. Though you can, I can't really go wrong with that. I rarely criticize that unless there's some like apparent technical issues with it. So that's fine. You got that down. But the ideas, just the ideas, they bother me. Yeah, that's all I can tell you. Work on your ideas, work on your composition, work on your musicality. That's really all I can tell you. Yeah. Okay, so Kitson is asking what's more annoying, counting or clicks. they both are what you wanted in the track. You know, I don't get it. I don't get counting in music. Like audible counting for the listener, not for the musician or for whatever. Like we're not performing to this. We don't need a click track. I mean, you have a beat in this, which is essentially like a click track. It's not like you need a click track for this, you know, because it's already there. Does this make any sense to me? Am I too negative with this? I don't know. I just don't get it. I just don't get the counting. I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about something else with this though, which is because I got hung up on that. I didn't want to talk about this for so long. Just who cares? Just the decision you made to have it. Fine. Yeah. Who cares? It's your decision. I'm not telling you to not have it, and I'm just asking why. And all you said did not help me understand. Anyway, I think this was again more simple with the other ideas you had in the previous things before that, which to me signals that you're really trying to find a sort of a direction for yourself. And what I would suggest for that, like I have with some others today, or what I have suggested for some others today, is that you focus more on the story you're trying to tell. So really, I think what you could benefit from the most at the current time is that you try to bring more context into your music. So, for example, something Radium and I often talk about is the title you choose. So with this, for example, you had the title tempo. So I believe there's a certain intention behind it. Now I misinterpreted it. I was thinking more in the terms of maybe you racing. Like again, that's what I thought the counting might have correlated to, if it's meant in the term within terms of tempo in music, then I don't really see it being picked up within the music, so that the context is missing again. Just things like that you should consider. Why did you name it that? What do you want to express with your music? I think really that's what you're hung up on the most at the moment. Is what are you trying to tell people with your music? Are you even trying to tell anyone anything with the music? I think if you have a clear structure for that, a clear ideas for that, I think you're going to get on the right track with that. Yeah, I'm just reading. I'm pretty much. Okay, so Katsune says that the song speeds up for the second drop tempo. Right. Okay. Yeah, so I guess you are playing a bit with those ideas. Yeah. But what else happens? So it's that one drop where it happens. That's that's the thing. It's this one feature, but what are you telling around that? There's got to be more. Why the track is called that? Like for example, I don't. If I write a piece. And there's one tiny section somewhere where there's, a bit of staccato going on, and some violence or something. I probably wouldn't call the piece staccato just because there's one tiny moment where there's staccato. I'd call the piece after my other intentions for it, my story ideas for it. I mean, just recently I showed on the last stream, I showcased one of my pieces, and it's called revelations and broken mirrors. So there's there's no mirror breaking audibly in the piece, which is not what it's about. That's what I mean in terms of the sort of intentions to put that behind the music. To me, this one small section where you have a slight speed ramp doesn't really justify the title. I'd want more. See, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I'd want more context. I'd want more things to happen. So, like let's look at it from that perspective. If the counting is according to you representing the time signature. So if you would call the track time signature, whatever, that's a stupid name, but if you were to call it like that, and if that's one of the primary features you're working with, then I'd expect you to really work with that, to have time signature changes and stuff like that, and really work with maybe layering different time signatures and having the vocals line up in different ways and stuff like that. That would be really interesting, actually. Maybe that's something I should do. No, but for real, that's what I mean. It's I guess what you could describe it as is a similar thing, like you describe emptiness in a track in terms of the sound design. Like you have one synth and one drum, you'd call that empty. You'd want more sounds, probably. For me, it's the same with the context you give within a piece. So to me, this one feature isn't really giving you the connection that I'd want for the entire thing. And I'm rambling at this point. I'm just waiting for Radium to unmute herself and get ready for her feedback. But yeah, I just really suggest you look more into the ideas you're actually trying to convey with your pieces. And to me, the things you said, they really just feel more like excuses, more like justifications for something you haven't really considered actually. I mean, if you have, then then that's good, because you're starting to think about it more. But that's the thing. If you react in this way, I think that you feel you have arrived at the peak of that, which I don't think you have. So if you're starting to try and experiment more with giving more context into your pieces, then just keep working at it, keep improving, and take this as what it is, honest and feedback when I'm trying to help you in saying that you need to think more about this. Anyway, Radium is ready now with her feedback. So we're going to listen to that, and I can finally stop rambling.
I did not write down my feedback because I was busy, and now that I think about it, I should have. Yes, so I'm going to ramble too. But my rambling ain't cute. And I'm rambling right now just to finish what I'm doing and put my glasses on. We're
Professor Radium.
Yes, get ready to get school. Oh no, I cursed. I mean, okay, let's get no, let's get school. Hi, shoot your name. Kitsune. Yes. Your song was very cliche. If I can start with that. Okay, the noise went away. As I was saying, your song was very cliche. Like, I'm gonna take an example. You mentioned tempo speeding up. That's cliche. The text-to-speech saying 1, 2, 3, 4. That's cliche. No, the most cliche thing of all. 1, 2, 3, tempo. That's cliche. And there was one thing about your song that was not expanded on, and I will never let you live that down. At some point, the sound switched up, and it was very unique and refreshing, and it was like 5 seconds, and that's so fucking disappointing. Like somewhere in the beginning, and that was great. That was good. Like you should have expanded on that. I wish I could give you like the time frame, but I can't. But somewhere in the beginning, that was fun. Like this should have been expended, but it wasn't, and that's really, really sad. And I think what's more disappointing and sad is that, as the others mentioned, your technical skills are all you say? Getting better. The word for getting better.
Yeah.
No, there's a word for getting. Anyway, your technical skills are getting better. Like
Improving?
Yes, improving. Thank you. Your technical skills are improving, but your creative skills are not. And this disconnect is annoying in the sense that a new listener can listen to your first song with those same technical skills and think they're great, but in the long run, they're gonna, if you keep making the music in this style without expanding your originality a little, it's gonna get boring. Like, you can have the best equipment, the best talent, and everything. If it's boring, it's boring. If it's repetitive, it's repetitive, and it's tiring, and that's always very, very sad. And I think maybe you don't really know how to tell a story. As Billy mentioned, I think maybe that's why. For example, y'all were having this quote unquote conversation on the meaning of tempo. To you, tempo was special because special, maybe not special, but to you, the title was justified because in the second off of the story, the tempo speeds up. But to me, that's not a great justification to call it tempo.
Yeah.
And to Blay didn't even get it. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4. Why? I think you just don't really know how to tell the story at the moment. Like, so it's improvement that you already trying to include to make sense between the title and your song, but there's still work. So if that could help, if I could give you a quote unquote challenge to maybe help with the concept of storytelling, it's maybe write something for a fictional or real event around you. If you like reading a certain book or watching a certain show, and there's a scene in that show that inspires you, make the same music genre that you make music for that scene. I don't know if you've ever watched the anime Parasite, which is based off the manga, but the soundtrack of the anime, it's all dubstep and EDM, but each song fits the scene before. Even the ones where it's more sadder slash uplifting, it still fits the scene that it's meant to be for. I challenge you to do this. It's possible to make a sad EDM song. Like, I'm sure it's possible. So I challenge you to find some, whether it's a story, a character, or story, something you saw at the park that was lamentable. Make a song about it. Like, make a soundtrack. Imagine your life is and something happens and you need a sound. Make it. But with the music genre you do. A story involves an intro, a middle, a resolution, an ending, Do that, but with your music based on something that you've seen. It might help to understand what it means to put a story. Because in pop music and hip hop, the story is mostly in the lyrics. But for music like EDM, the story has to be, or anything else, the story has to be the music. So yeah, try that. Maybe it'll help.
Yeah,
for sure. Solid advice. Yeah, storytelling. It's one of those
Super
things
important.
that you're like, you don't think of it when you think of music, but even Playhub does a really good job explaining what that is, but I would, at some point you're gonna have to just ask yourself, like, okay, what do they mean by storytelling and stuff, and just go research, just what happens when you type that into Google and YouTube and stuff, and just kind of explore storytelling and music and stuff. And it's gonna be creative thinking. It's gonna be pretentious kind of stuff. Honestly, you're gonna just think of yourself as really a storyteller and just be pretentious and just do it. Anyways, it can even be just a little sound that evolves, and it's the story of that little sound throughout your piece, or it could be as big as the story of starting out like with just this build up and this anticipation of something happening, and then hints and foreshadowing of things happening to come, and then all of a sudden, of course, it getting to that point in the song, and there's a climax, and there's a resolution, and all the same terminology you'd find in a story writing, you can apply to music. You just gotta figure out what that means in music. We got it's 3:51 my time. We're running out of time. How many tracks we got left? Was that the
0? This was the last one.
all right. This was a cool, interesting stream. I am getting pretty sleepy, so I'm gonna wrap this up.
Sleepy gal.
Sorry. I know it's totally my fault. I woke up way too early this morning for no reason. All right, so tune back in tomorrow, 7 p.m. UTC on YouTube for the Spooky collab. We're gonna listen to them, and I'm gonna give out plenty of coins. We're gonna, even though we have no point for those coins, I've got plenty of them, and I'm just gonna reward prop coins for everyone that submitted tracks and everything. So we'll listen to them. We'll give our little friendly feedback, and it's not a competition. So it's a collab, community collab. I don't know how many we'll get, but I'm going to encourage as many as we can. Just submit your collab in the community with Spooky Collab. Just make sure, or send it straight to me. Just make sure I have it, so by tomorrow I can just play them all on stream. And then we'll going into November, we've got some stuff planned, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow during the stream. All right. Thanks Playhub for streaming. Thanks Radium for your solid feedback, and thanks everybody for sticking around, being in the chat, and submitting your tracks. We will see y'all next time.
Bye.